Hey everybody, welcome to a special post-Extreme Rules edition of NoDQ&A video. WWE Extreme Rules literally just ended a few moments ago. Figured I would record a video now, fresh off the pay-per-view. I got a lot of questions here regarding Extreme Rules and some other topics. First one today comes from WWE Fan 5. Hey Aaron, what did you think of Extreme Rules? I loved it. It's always my pay-per-view of the year. I don't know if it will be this year, but a great pay-per-view nonetheless. I thought that overall this was a really solid pay-per-view from top to bottom. I didn't feel that there were any bad matches. I thought all the matches were at least good, and you had a couple of really good matches on this show. I felt that the pay-per-view was very fast-paced. Most of the matches were cut fairly short, most of them not even going over 10 minutes, but the pacing of the show was well done, and I was never bored with it. I was always entertained by the matches, and that's what happens when you have different stipulations in each match. That keeps it a little bit more interesting. I don't think it was as good as last year's Extreme Rules, but I mean, that set the bar really high, that pay-per-view, so I wasn't expecting this one to be as good. I do have to give credit to the St. Louis fans. I thought that they were really hot for this show, and they helped make the show more memorable. The crowd was a lot better than the WrestleMania crowd, let's put it that way. So thumbs up for the crowd, and the matches were very good overall. And yeah, I would give it a definite thumbs up. I enjoyed the pay-per-view, and I don't have any real issues with it. I was entertained from start to finish. Next question here comes from CM Punk 313. What was your favorite moment of the Extreme Rules pay-per-view? And this plays into the next question, so I'll start with this from Peter Scott Jones. Hi Aaron, awesome show. What did you think of the finish of the John Cena and Ryback match? This has gotten a ton of debate from people. I've gotten a lot of comments and questions about this match. I knew going in that something was going to happen, some kind of screwy finish. I wasn't expecting John Cena to win at any point. I figured that one of two things were going to happen. Either Ryback would win the title, or they would have a double countout, a draw finish, so the feud could continue. I mean, I figured the feud was continuing one way or the other, so to have Cena win would make no sense. And, I could see why they wouldn't want to take the title off of Cena right now because he just won it at WrestleMania. So as the pay-per-view got closer, I was thinking more and more that they were just going to do the finish where both guys knock each other out and it's a draw. And that's what they ended up doing here. Now, I give them credit for trying to do something really spectacular and going all out. Ryback did the spear to John Cena through the set, and all the pyro went off and all that. So I mean, they did try to do something extreme, and I knew the fans weren't going to be happy about the finish. I mean, WWE really backed themselves into a corner here. I mean, it was a no-win situation because if Cena won, then fans would have been pissed about that. And, they would say, well, Ryback has been killed dead. He's already lost several pay-per-views, and now he's lost another one. How can the feud continue if Ryback loses? And if Ryback won the title, people would be mad about that. They would say that, John Cena just won the title and you take it away from him. That doesn't make any sense. He spent over a year trying to get the belt back. And then, of course, if they do the no contest, fans would be mad about that. And I can understand fans being mad about that because when you buy a pay-per-view, you're expecting to see a decisive winner, and it's just a cheap cop-out finish here where you don't get a clear-cut winner. But they did have this kind of little storyline here where Ryback actually was able to walk away, and John Cena was one that had to be carried out. So I'm sure that'll play into the storyline. Ryback will come out and say he was technically the last man standing, so he should be WWE champion. So I mean, I think WWE did the best they could, but I mean, really, they have nobody to blame but themselves because they backed themselves into a corner here where they had to do this kind of finish. But I do give them credit for trying to do something interesting. And, I did like that spear spot, the finish of the match going through the set. I thought that was pretty cool. And, the last few minutes of the match, overall, I thought the match was very good, all things considered. And, I thought it was a very good last man standing match, and there were a few moments where I thought the match was going to be over and it wasn't. So, I still thought it was a good match, but I figured going in that there was a good chance it was going to be a no contest. All right, next question here comes from Alev705. Why is the crowd always dead when it's Brock Lesnar versus Triple H, no matter how good the match is? That is a good question. I'm really not sure. I mean, at SummerSlam, to me, it felt like the fans didn't want to see an MMA type of match in WWE. They wanted to see a WWE match. They wanted to see Brock Lesnar, like the old Brock Lesnar with the tights, and just a WWE style match. And that's how I felt about the SummerSlam match. And I was there live, and I could hear people chanting out, "This isn't UFC." I mean, there were quite a few people in different sections yelling out, "We want WWE, not UFC." I mean, I heard it. I was there. As far as the WrestleMania match goes, the crowd was just burned out. Brock Lesnar and Triple H had to follow Undertaker and CM Punk, so that was a problem there. And for this pay-per-view, I also think it was the crowd being burned out. I mean, the crowd was hot for this entire show up until the main event, and then they died. And it could just be they were burned out after the Ryback and John Cena match, and a lot of people were upset about that finish, so maybe the fans had bad tastes in their mouths. I mean, who knows? But maybe it's just the fact that people don't really want to see Lesnar and Triple H all that much. I mean, the SummerSlam match did a good buy rate, so I mean, there is some interest, but I don't know. Something about those two guys, maybe they just don't have the chemistry together. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this was the best match of the three. I'm not really sure, but I thought it was a fairly good match, and I just didn't understand the psychology of it. That's the other thing. Brock Lesnar's the heel, and normally in these types of matches, when you build the storyline of the match around an injury, usually it's the babyface who's injured, and the heel's working over the face who's injured. In this case, it's Brock Lesnar who's injured, and you have Triple H beating him down. So it's kind of a weird reverse psychology, and I don't think that worked. People didn't want to see that, So I felt that perhaps that hurt the match, and just the fact that there's already been two matches. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons you could throw out there as to why the crowd wasn't really into it. All right, next question here comes from Outcast007. Longtime viewer, first time asking a question. With Team Hell No losing the tag team titles, do you see one of them turning on the other and feuding? If so, who will turn? Well, I definitely think that they should split at this point. I think Team Hell No has run its course. They had a great run as tag team champions, but I think now it's time to move on and do something else. I think it might be better to have Kane turn on Daniel Bryan and have Daniel Bryan as a babyface. I think that's what fans would want to do. I think they want to cheer for Daniel Bryan and boo Kane, but that's just my gut instinct. I could very well see Daniel Bryan being the one to turn heel and WWE wanting to keep Bryan a heel, but I think you should just go with what the fans want, and I think most fans would want Bryan as the babyface at this point. Turn Bryan babyface and give him a run on top as a babyface, and maybe number 2 or number 3 on the top baby faces. I mean, just do what the fans want. I mean, that's what they want to see, and you should give it to them. So, if it was me, I would have Kane turn heel on Daniel Bryan. But, knowing how WWE operates, would not surprise me at all to see Daniel Bryan as the heel against a babyface Kane. All right. Hey Aaron, WWE turned Big Show face then heel every week, so my question is, which do you like better? Happy-go-lucky Big Show or monster heel Big Show? I prefer him as a heel. I agree with you. I think that Big Show is best as a monster giant. I mean, that's what he is naturally. He's this huge monster who you don't want to mess with, and that just naturally makes him a good heel because of his freakish size. Big Show has done well as a babyface in the past. When he was doing the comedy routine where he was dressing up like Hulk Hogan and the Fat Bastard and all that stuff. I mean, it was very funny and all, but I think part of the problem, too, is that WWE has flip-flopped with him so many times, and I think that's why he doesn't get, much of a reaction from people when he comes out, because he has gone between heel and face so many times. I don't think people know how to react to him. WWE has kind of dropped the ball with him over the years, and they never really gave him a solid role for a long period of time. 1 week he'd be a monster, and then the next week he'd be a comedy act. And, I think that's hurt his career a little bit. But, when they push him as a monster heel, I feel that that's the best of the Big Show, when you just let him go out there and just be dominant and destroy people. All right, from BJ Nation. Hey Aaron, do you think that the stalker angle with Undertaker during the invasion would have worked better with Scott Steiner? I mean, this would have been more convenient given that you could have involved Rick and eventually had a Steiner brothers versus brothers of destruction. Yeah, that might have been a good idea. I mean, the problem is that I don't think that DDP worked in that role as the stalker. I mean, he did his best. I actually thought he was entertaining in the role, but you know, I think that most wrestling fans knew that DDP was married to Kimberly Page and knew that they had a relationship. So why would DDP be stalking the Undertaker's wife? I mean, he has Kimberly. So I mean, that right there didn't make much logical sense. Um, you know, if he had just done it to get in the Undertaker's head, you know, that's fine. But then they did these segments where DDP was really obsessed with her, and I thought they were really lame segments, and it really hurt DDP a lot. So I don't know if Scott Steiner would have been any better. I just would have rather had it been a situation where the stalker was doing it strictly to get in the head of the guy and screw with him. But then when it becomes the whole obsession relationship storyline, then I thought it got ruined at that point. All right, last one tonight comes from Power King 23. Hey Aaron, great show as always. Thank you for that. Do you think that Bret Hart gets harshly treated by fans when it comes to judging his mic skills? Some of his heel promos back in '97 were some of his best, in my opinion. Well, in your haste, in your house, you know what? In all fairness to Bret, I felt that he did do a really good job on the mic when he did his heel turn in '97. You know, when he did that promo where he shoved Vince and started using profanity. I thought that was great stuff. I thought that was Bret Hart's best work, and you know, he was really intense and very believable. So I mean, I was a big fan of that, and his promos against America I thought were very good. You know, he's not the best guy on the mic. There are guys that are far better, but I felt that during that period, Bret was at his best, and he was fairly good. And I think a lot of it just had to do with a very good storyline that he had to work with. You know, I don't think that Bret Hart's one of those guys that could take bad material and make it good, but when you have the good material, you obviously can go out there and if you like the material, it'll show when you're cutting your promo. You'll have that passion behind it. So I mean, I think because of that, his '97 work was definitely the best of his career. All right, that'll do it for No DQ&A video today. Thank you for watching. Check out NoDQ.com for all the very latest fallout from Extreme Rules. Almost at 30,000 subscribers, less than 500 to go now. Trying to reach 30,000 by June 1st, so keep spreading the word. Post this video on Facebook, Twitter, whatever sites you visit. Keep spreading the word about No DQ&A video, and click the subscribe button if you haven't already. And I will see you next time for more No DQ&A video.